Never allow other people's criticisms, opinions, or people saying no stop you from going after what you want. I wanted to do this video because I got some feedback about what I shared in regards to chapter number 6 of my book, Creating a Kick-Ass Attitude, which was all about legends and success stories. And someone who has read the book was asking me about one of the people I had interviewed, which was British entrepreneur Julian Metcalfe, who is the founder of food retailers such as Pret a Manger, Itsu, and Metcalfe's Food Company. His companies are worth billions of dollars. He was one of the first people that I interviewed for the book when the first edition was launched over a decade ago. But if I had listened to the people around me, I would have never interviewed him. Let me give you the story. At the time, I worked for Pret a Manger, doing some administrative work and health and safety in one of the airport branches, and I was not a known person, I was not a big CEO. Facebook and Twitter had only been around for 3-4 years. There was no Instagram. YouTube only had 26 channels that year compared to the over 40 million channels we currently have. Basically, I wasn't a media person or a C-level executive, and people had told me that Julian was very eccentric and that he was hardly ever in the UK, that he was always traveling, and that when he was in London in the main headquarters, that he would only meet up with high-level individuals, so that it would be pretty much impossible for me to get a meeting. Based on that feedback, many people would have not even tried to get a meeting with Julian. But at least being Elise, I said, why not? If I don't ask, I already have a no. So I remember contacting someone in headquarters, asking if they could get me Julian's email because I wanted to do a small interview for a book that I was writing. Of course, they had to get permission, but I got an email address and I sent an email. I told him who I was, the reason why I wanted to interview him, and that all I needed was 20 minutes of his time. To my surprise, I got an email back from Julian Metcalfe himself, who said it would be a pleasure to do it, but that he was traveling and it would have to be on his return. The moral of the story here is that we will have many no's in our lives, but we will also get a few yeses. For example, at the time, I got a no by the office of Gordon Ramsay, who I also wanted to interview, and back then we did not have as much public access as we do now. To this day, I still have the letter from Gordon Ramsay's office saying that he was too busy at the time, but I am confident I will interview him one day. Gordon, you're still on my list. But on the other hand, I got Julian Metcalfe to say yes. And not only did he give me 20 minutes, he gave me a whole hour of his time. He even personally gave me a tour of his office. I was in awe of his mind, how he spoke, the way he expressed himself, and the look on everyone's faces when I showed up at headquarters to do the interview. Priceless. Hearing the story live in person at a time when we did not do things via Zoom or FaceTime, it was very powerful and something that has always stayed with me. This individual is now worth around $400 million, made time for someone who had a dream and wanted to write her first ever book. My approach had honesty, authenticity, integrity, and truth. Things that I believe in. And whereas in some cases we will still get a no, every yes is worth more than you can imagine. So remember, never allow other people's criticisms, opinions, or people saying no stop you from going after what you want.